Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Friday the 13th, January 13th, 2017. The movie is coming out, Patriots Day. They're saying it's based on a true story, the true story being the April 15th, 2013 supposed bombing at the Boston Marathon. If you are not aware, that was a staged event, a hoax. No one was injured, no one was killed, no one lost any limbs. The entire thing was a staged scene to continue the narrative of there's an Islamic boogeyman out there that the US government needs to deal with. They need more of your tax dollars for war. They need more of your tax dollars to spy on you, to collect information. They need to take away your rights, your liberties to keep you safe. From September 11th up to the present, we have been bombarded with staged propaganda. September 11th was staged propaganda, so was the Boston Marathon bombing, so have many other things been, which we'll talk about in this video. What I'm going to show you is why they are releasing this movie on the specific date, January 13th, 2017, a Friday the 13th, and also why they have chosen Mark Wahlberg to be the main character. He's a Boston native, but there's a greater reason why he was chosen for the lead role. So this film's coming out January 13th. In select cities, they released the film on December 21st, 2016. That's a date with 49 numerology, 12 plus 21 plus 16. Patriots Day, the name of the movie in Gematria, sums to 49. Of course, Boston, New England, home of the New England Patriots, who were last in Super Bowl 49. I'll show you what this film has to do with the New England Patriots, who very well might end up in Super Bowl 51. This film's releasing on a date with 51 numerology. We'll talk more about it. So the special release was December 21st. The nationwide, worldwide release, January 13th, upcoming. 12/21, the date, 12 plus 21 is also 33. I'll point out that 33 is an important number to false flags. The Boston Marathon bombing was a false flag. A false flag is when a government stages a propaganda event to program the masses. Here in the United States, we continuously get programming from our government, from our media, that there's an Islamic boogeyman out there. And the Boston Marathon bombing, one of these many events. Also, Massachusetts, it is one of 3 states out of the 50 with a 33 gematria. The other 2 are the first state, Delaware, and the 50th and final state, Hawaii. Delaware, Hawaii, Massachusetts, only 3 states with 33 names. Massachusetts is the 6th state. The numerology of 33 is 3 plus 3 equals 6. Anyhow, Massachusetts 33, false flag 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33, Kennedy equals 33. The Kennedy dynasty comes out of Massachusetts. Think about how JFK was killed on 11/22, 11 plus 22, 33, in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree master mason. The Zapruder film made by a 33rd degree master mason. Zapruder was a Freemason himself. This nation, the United States of America, is a Freemasonic nation, established by Freemasons, run by Freemasons. Your federal government, owned and operated by Freemasons, so are all of your city police throughout the nation. Federal 33, police 33. Washington, D.C. equals 137, which is the 33rd prime number, headquarters of the federal government. So anyhow, this film is coming out on January 13th, written 1/13 in the U.S., and 113 is an important number to Freemasonry and Zionist Jews. Scottish, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, equals 113. In the Talmud, which the Zionist Jews go by, Bava Kama 113a says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who's not. Mark Wahlberg, like the rest of Hollywood, Jewish, Zionist Jews, that's who runs Hollywood, that's who runs your media, that's who runs your government. Scottish 113, dishonest 113, perverted 113, mainstream 113. Think about Hollywood and a lot of Hollywood film companies code this number into their films. Pixar proudly states that they code it into all of their films, but so do many other film studios. This movie, a lie, or a movie about a propaganda lie, coming out on 113. Boston, Massachusetts, it's on the 42nd parallel north, the 71st meridian. Add those coordinates together, 42 plus 71, you're right back to 113, 113. 42, the number of the Freemasons, Freemason 42. The big G in the middle of the Freemason compass and square represents 42. The Freemasons believe in divide and conquer, scaring the world, making them hate Islam, dividing amongst race, religion, sexuality. They also believe in order out of chaos. That's why they stage these tragedies, and then they say, okay, this is what we need to do to combat the problem. We need a war. We need more money for surveillance. We need more money for police. We need to take away your rights. We need to be able to track, have surveillance over you. The date, January 13th, it can also be written 13/1, something like 131, day before the month. 131 is the 32nd prime number. That's the America number. America equals 32. America is New Jerusalem. America was created by warmongers, Jewish banker tyrants, Freemasons. That's why the nation's been at war ever since. That's why it was born out of a genocide. That's why they tell us in our history books that Christopher Columbus discovered America, even though there were native people here. Who was Christopher Columbus? Jewish, sent on behalf of the Catholic Church, the Jesuits within the Catholic Church, the Masonic order within the Catholic Church. Anyhow, America 32, Jerusalem 32. This happened on Boylston Street, Boylston 32. Happened on a date, April 15th, 2013, a date with 32 numerology. The America number. Some other good 32 words. College equals 32. Career 32. Average 32. And that's what America does. Teaches its young people to be average, to follow lies, to go slave, pay money for false education, get a needless job. Most people in America are too busy to keep up with anything. Slaving away, trying to pay the bills, trying to pay off all their money for their false education they received. The date of establishment for this country, also a date with 32 numerology, July 4th, 1776. So they said 3 people died. They said several people lost their limbs. It's a race. You're running, legs. It's all symbolism. They said everybody who got their legs blown off, If you guys missed the People magazine ad with the people who supposedly lost their legs, they're all smiling and happy and talking about how their life's better for it. It's just such false propaganda. I'll show you how they staged the scene with the, people with the bloodied limbs at the end of this video. Nobody lost any limbs. No one died. They said the people who died were from China. Remember this? They said they were foreign exchange students. They do that in a lot of these hoaxes. Say the people are from China. Makes it harder to track the lies. April 15th is also typically tax day. In Massachusetts, it's Patriots Day. That's why the film's called Patriots Day, which we'll get to. The date of the incident, April 13th, 2015. It was also a date with 52 numerology. The word government equals 52. This was absolutely planned by our government for agenda. Prophecy equals 52. Remember, the United States of America, the original capital is Philadelphia, named from the final book of the Bible, Revelation, the book of prophecy and destruction. The Freemasons follow the books of prophecy encoding their propaganda. Why? Because we're living out a Jewish, Zionist, Masonic prophecy. Has everything to do with Israel and the Jewish banker tyrants who run this world. We're living out their planned agenda. They call it prophecy. The attack happened directly across the street from 666 Boylston Street. 666, prophecy and Jewish gematria equals 666. Revelation, the book, the final book of the Bible, the 66th book that makes the number 666 infamous. It's called Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast equals 66. 666. Massachusetts, the 6th state. When you write out 6 as a word, it sums to 52 as well. 6 as a word sums to 52 using the alphabetic order. So the film is 133 minutes. 133 minutes, releasing January 13th. Government equals 133. White House. Show you what this film has to do with Donald Trump taking the White House, who's upping the rhetoric, painting Islam as this enemy that needs to be dealt with. When in truth, if you look at the history of the world, it's the most peaceful religion. Staying out of wars, not involving itself with conflicts, letting the bully nation Israel, terrorize the region. Meanwhile, over here in the U.S., they try to make it seem like Israel's this nice little puppy dog that needs to be protected. In truth, it's the terrorist state of the world. The false Jew nation. So 133 minutes, that's also 2 hours and 13 minutes, kind of like 213. 213 is the number for Nimrod, the original Freemason from the Bible. A lot of Masonic tributes, plus more to decode in just moments ahead. This film in simple English gematria sums to 148. In English reduction, it sums to 49. 148 is the exact same as Donald J. Trump, the same as his first book, The Art of the Deal, where on the cover his name is Donald J. Trump. We've seen this number coded next to Donald all year. This film coming out 7 days before he is to take office. Donald Trump will take office January 20th, 2017. That's a date with 58 numerology. He just won the 58th presidential election ever. He's the 44th person to be president, the 45th president. The reason the count's off is because Grover Cleveland was 22 and 24. So the count has been off ever since 25. That's why Donald Trump's number 45, but the 44th person to be president. In Israel, there were 44 kings, all men. Donald Trump's the 44th man to be president. The United States of America is a Jewish creation, recreating biblical history. As I've been explaining, the final book of the Bible, the warning signs are the 7 trumpets. Right now, Donald Trump, Mike Pence, they're the Trump-Pence ticket. Donald Trump will be 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old on Inauguration Day, the date with 58 numerology. 58 is a very important number to Freemasonry, who again believes in divide and conquer and order out of chaos. Order out of chaos equals 777, 777 in Jewish gematria. I want to show you real quick the parallel with 58 and 148 to Donald Trump taking office with the 115th Congress. When you write out 148, like the gematria of Donald J. Trump, The Art of the Deal, Patriots Day, it sums to 115. When you write out 58, it also sums to 115. The word Freemasons, the plural, equals 115. Killing equals 115. Freemasonry, very much a death cult. Warmongers. Horrible people. And I'm not talking about your father, your uncle, your brother down at the local lodge. That's the front for Freemasonry to legitimize it. I'm talking about the tyrants at the top who are all Freemasons and all psychopaths, just like Donald Trump himself. Here's some more important 58 words. Freemasonry itself sums to 58, like secret society, like annuit coeptus, what's on your dollar bill above the all-seeing eye on the pyramid. That pyramid has 13 layers of bricks. What's 5 plus 8? 13. United States in gematria sums to 58. So does Patriots Day. And with regards to this being about the Boston Marathon bombing, the older brother who was supposedly responsible for the bombing has named gematria 58, just like Patriots Day, just like Freemasonry. This is a made-up character. This is not a real person. If you were following the story of the Boston Marathon bombing and its aftermath, as I was, it was first reported that this man was arrested, and then they just flushed that story down the memory hole, and they said he was killed in a shootout. You know? That's the problem with this nation. They know that the people are so busy, so occupied, not paying attention to anything real. When people aren't working, what are they doing? They're watching movies, TV shows, rigged sports games, shopping. They're not paying attention to what's going on. That's why the mainstream media can report that this man's arrested, as they did, and then report later that he was killed in a shootout. Two stories that don't make any sense. I forgot to put in something important here. Oh, here it is, right here, True Seeker. I just put it in a bad order. This film is coming out on Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th equals 223. 223. Remember the Friday the 13th terror attack in Paris blamed on ISIS, Islamic boogeyman? Remember, ISIS stands for Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, and ISIS, the goddess, very important to Freemasonry. Major tribute to ISIS in the Freemasonic Lodge in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. Friday the 13th, 223. Masonic, 223. The Synagogue of Satan, which is the name for the false Jews from the book of Revelation. Freemasonry, the Zionist Jews, it's one and the same. Synagogue of Satan, 223. And with regards to Satan, this attack happened in Boston, Massachusetts, which has the same gematria as Satan. Remember George W. Bush? George W. Bush equals 58. He was a Freemason. He was a bonesman. He went to Yale Skull and Bones, graduated in 1968, 33 years before 2001 when he took office. Also in 1968, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, and World Trade Center construction began in New York, 33 years before 2001, the false flag number. George W. Bush was a bonesman. Bonesman equals 33. His birthday is July 6, 1946, a date with 33 numerology. Do you remember what George W. Bush said right after the Boston Marathon bombing? If not, we're going to watch that news clip. Notice, though, that his fraternity that he's a part of at Yale equals 43. He was the 43rd president. 322 is the number on Skull and Bones, the reflection of 223. Skull and Bones, Masonic. Let's go back and watch George W. Bush reflecting on the Boston Marathon attack.
Mr. President, I do want to get right to the news of this week.
Sure.
For so many Americans, the terrorism in Boston.
Yeah.
Many people have wondered if it took you right back to 9/11 when you heard it.
Well, at first,
I'm going to tell you something about 9/11 at the end of this video. Something you need to know about 9/11, how it has the same numbers on it as this Boston Marathon bombing hoax. But let's listen to George W. Bush.
Deeply concerned that there might have been a organized plot. I don't know all the facts. I don't think we all know all the facts, but I was deeply concerned that this could have been, another
So anyway, this is somebody else's video that they made, but he catches himself. He's about to say another and he's saying in regards to 9/11. He's saying this is another like 9/11, another conspiracy like 9/11, and it absolutely is. See, in this world, people have been taught to tune out when they hear the word conspiracy, but that's what runs this world. This world runs on conspiracy. That's why you've been taught to hate that word. Okay, so the other brother, Dozakar Tsarnaev, the younger one who went on trial, his name equals 74, like Masonic, like Jewish, like occult, like killing. The World Trade Centers were on the 74th meridian. This happened on a holiday in Massachusetts, Patriots Day, holiday 74. Here in the U.S., we have our Independence Day on 7/4, Independence Day 74. English equals 74, Gematria 74. Freemasonry created the English language and this nation all at about the same time, all part of a New World Order agenda, which is an old world order. The word patriots alone also has gematria of 118, like death. They reported death, killing on Patriots Day at the Boston Marathon bombing. I want to point out that in Gematria, Boston Marathon bombing sums to 93, just like propaganda, just like Saturn. Think about the 93 World Trade Center bombing. Think about Flight 93 of 33 passengers, which they made a movie about. The first plane to hit the World Trade Center supposedly hit floors 93 through 99. Remember, the people who control your media, the same people who control your banks, your government, they are the Zionist Jews. They are the Israeli Jews. They control Hollywood. All throughout history, they have used Hollywood to create based on true story movies that re-emphasize lies from history's past. Steven Spielberg had a big year in 93. He came out with the movie Schindler's List about the Holocaust during World War II. Everything about Oskar Schindler is 93. Everything, the name, the date he died, events in his life. It's complete propaganda. Spielberg equals 93. It's not a coincidence that that film came out in 93. Everything about Zionist Israel, which is a product of World War I and World War II, planned out agenda. The only reason the U.S. fought in World War I was to bring about Zionist Israel, as agreed to in the Balfour Declaration, written by Sir Lord Rothschild, the Zionist banker. Anyway, everything about Israel is 93. The country was drawn up on September 3rd, 1947. Its entire history littered with the number 93. Big news recently in Israel with their former president dying at age 93. All the world leaders gathering there on September 29th, the day that leaves 93 days left in the year. They had the funeral for the 93-year-old on September 30th, 9/3. If you add 9 plus 30, it's 39. The reflection of 93, the number of books in the Old Testament. In all of these staged propaganda events, they use the word strong, Boston strong. The word strong has gematria of 93, just like propaganda, just like Boston Marathon bombing. Again, this film is coming out just before Donald Trump takes the office, who's running on this patriotic message. Remember what patriotism means in America, though. It means being a blind moron, thinking genocide of the natives is okay. That was manifest destiny. Thinking that bombing brown people all over the world is okay. That's patriotic. Thinking my government can do no wrong. They can take away all my rights and liberties. That's patriotic. This is what patriotic is at this day and age. Essentially being a blind sheep, following people who don't give a shit about you. But I just want you to notice, Patriots, Jewish gematria 490, Patriots Day 49, Washington 49, Revelation 49, Patriots last in Super Bowl 49, beat the team from Washington State, Washington equals 49. The square root of 49 is 7. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick could theoretically be in their 7th Super Bowl before long here. This film's coming out on a date with 51 numerology. The upcoming Super Bowl is Super Bowl 51, hosted by the Houston Texans. Houston Texans equals 51, Conspiracy 51, Federal 51. Patriots got a big 93 tribute when they played the Houston Texans earlier this year. I showed why the Patriots would win that game even though they were underdogs because Brady was out. Having their first rookie QB start since 1993, Jacoby Brissett. This film, it's also releasing on a date with 31 numerology. Boston has gematria of 31. The star actor Mark Wahlberg, Boston native, he's playing the character Tommy Saunders. Tommy Saunders equals 52, like government, like prophecy, like the date numerology of the attack, April 15th, 2013. Tommy Saunders also equals 187. Been showing how 187's been coded all over Donald Trump. George W. Bush was born on the 187th day of the year. Donald Trump had his Cleveland GOP convention July 18th. That's when it began. 18/7. Inauguration day is 187 days later. At the Boston Marathon bombing, where no bombing really happened, pressure cooker bombs are what were blamed. Pressure cooker bombs equals 239, the 52nd prime number. How perfect. Remember, 239 important number to the Zionist Jews. Torah equals 239. Golden Gate equals 239. They believe the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate. The flag is currently 239 years old, and the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street. Established June 14th, 1777, a date with 33 numerology. The word stripe has gematria of 33. Stars and stripes. The word star has gematria of 58, like Freemasonry. Notice the name Mark Wahlberg. You know, these Hollywood guys, they have all their names recreated, and the way they recreate the names are by the numbers. Mark Wahlberg equals 119, like Star of David, the Jewish Zionist symbol, like All-Seeing Eye, like Master Plan, like the date September 11th was written 11/9. Mark Wahlberg is born on June 5th. That's interesting because June 5th is the 156th day of the year. False flag equals 156. In history, the film Truman Show came out on June 5th. The movie named after the 33rd president, Harry Truman, who created the CIA, the NSA, all the things that spy on us, collect our information, try to intimidate us. The main character name in the Truman Show is Truman Burbank, which equals 156. The film came out on June 5th, the 156th day of the year. Truman was the 33rd president. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. Here's what else you need to know about 156. It is directly connected to 911, the National Emergency Dialing Code, the day the World Trade Centers came down. 911 is the 156th prime number. See that? The firm that built the World Trade Centers, where construction began in 1968, 33 years prior, their name is Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, which equals 156. You know? How perfect. So here we have a guy starring in a movie that's about a false flag that they're saying is a real event. Remember how it was foreshadowed in things such as Family Guy? Family Guy had the 2 bombs going off at the marathon just before the actual event happened. You never seen my video on that? I show the writer of the show, Freemason. It's a Freemasonic network mocking us, creating fake news, creating cartoons that tell us what's to come. One of my favorite followers who makes a lot of contributions in regards to sports, he pointed out right away that from the date of the release of this film until the upcoming Super Bowl is 23 days. 23 days. The number 83 is the 23rd prime number, and football equals 83. New England Patriots, Patriots Day. Tom Brady's born on August 3rd, 8/3. If Tom Brady and Bill Belichick play in the Super Bowl on February 5th, they have a chance to become 5-2 in Super Bowls, a lot like the date. The name Bill Belichick equals 97. This is the 97th season of the NFL. 97 is the 25th prime number. This date can be written 2/5, kind of like 25. Very possible the Patriots play in this Super Bowl, and very possible they win as well. And very likely, if that is the case, that this movie, its release date, is a tribute to that, in addition to the mainstream dishonest coding, as we talked about, the Friday the 13th coding. Freemasons created American football, run and script your NFL the same way they do your news. Now let's just go through some other recent headlines and understand these are just a handful out of hundreds of headlines that back up my point. This number 113 is used again and again in coding propaganda. They said Dozakar Sarnayev, by the way, this boy was supposedly born July 22nd, 1993. That's a date with 33 numerology. It's also the year 93. But look, they said that the jury had to deliberate for 11 and a half hours. That's 11 hours and 30 minutes. 1130, 113. Born in 93, like propaganda. And here, let's just look it up real quick. Just in case you're doubting what I'm saying, I'll show you. Dozakar Sarnayev, born July 22nd, 1993. Been doing this research for years, so a lot of it's easy to remember. There it is, July 22nd, 1993, currently 23 years old. 7 plus 2 plus 2 is 11, plus 1 more is 12, plus 9 more is 21, plus 9 more is 30, plus 3 more is 33. His birthday, 33 date numerology. July 22nd is significant because if you divide 22 by 7, the day by the month, you get the number for pi, having to do with cycles and circles. That's what we live in, a world of cycles and circles, and the Freemasons, who follow these codes, they plan propaganda events by the numbers to keep us on the path of their agenda. So here's another one. This is a separate story, also out of Boston. Again, painting Islam as a threat. Here's a suspect plotted to behead Pamela Geller, sources say. His name, the name given, Usama Rahim. Usama Rahim equals 113, like mainstream, like dishonest. Again and again, we are given these propaganda stories with this number coded. Remember, Belgium on March 22nd, 22/3, the location that blew up had 223 gematria. Like Friday the 13th, like Masonic, like Synagogue of Satan. Bombers were brothers. That's what they told us. Just like how they were brothers in Boston. You know, similar narratives, grainy images. Look how bad these images are. Here we are in 2016, and they're giving us these photos that look like they're from decades past. Bombers were brothers has gematria of 113. Again and again. Here was another comical story. American Mormon, 19 years old, has third brush with terror. Supposedly, he was at the Boston Marathon bombing, the Paris attack on Friday the 13th, which had 113 coded over everything. Go back and watch my Paris work. It's all 113. And then the Brussels attack. And they said this kid was from Sandy, Utah. And can you guess what Sandy, Utah equals? Sandy, Utah equals 113. 113 Sandy, Utah. You know? What are the odds of a man being at all three of these terrorist attacks? You know? His name is Mason Wells. Mason. Here's another good one. Boston area. Aaron Hernandez on the 2-year anniversary. Life without parole. He was the 113th pick of the New England Patriots. And, you know, I honestly haven't put enough research into this, but what this looked like to me is another fake news story, another fake murder trial, another spectacle to grab the mind's eye of the masses using a professional athlete, a football player. The O.J. Simpson story is a complete hoax. O.J. Simpson never murdered a Nicole Simpson. That's a made-up character. There's no such thing as Nicole Simpson. It's all planned out propaganda. That was a race war psyop to divide the nation that's still with us. They still make television shows about it by the numbers. O.J. Simpson supposedly serving a 33-year prison sentence. Simpson equals 33. The murder scene was a date with 33 numerology. Anyway, the powers that be, the Zionist Jews, they just have a certain bag of tricks. You know, contrived trials, murder trials, contrived bombings, contrived terrorist attacks. They just give us all this negative stuff again and again by the numbers. And they use their celebrity sellouts to do it. Aaron Hernandez, maybe he didn't want to play football anymore. So they used him for this. Pretty sure Hernandez is not in a prison anywhere. This decision was on the 2-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, the 113th overall pick. Aaron Michael Hernandez equals 105. April 15th is the 105th day of the year. Zionism equals 105. Masonry equals 105. Again, that's tax day, the day we get bent over. Earlier this year, there was supposedly a bombing at a Marine marathon in New Jersey, and then there was another bombing hoax in New York that was foreshadowed in video games. Got videos on this. Anyway, the first headline, bomb explodes near Marine 5K. Marine 5K, guess what that has gematria of? 113, you know? Similar numbers. Similar numbers. The word Marine also sums to 33. They said it blew up on the boardwalk, 33. April 15th was the date of the Boston Marathon bombing, the 105th day of the year. Look at September 17th, the date of this bombing. The date that leaves 105 days left in the year. You see how they do this? Recreating by the numbers. from April 15th to September 17th was 156 days. You see? Mark Wahlberg, born on the 156th day of the year. These are all things I have videos on. We're just doing some review. Let's watch a little bit of the preview from the movie to come out. There is a time to be strong. I hope to God that nobody buys a ticket for this movie. If you buy a ticket for this movie, you're putting your money in the pockets of the tyrants who rule over you, mock you, hate you, want you to live in fear under their tyranny, and want to entertain you with it at the same time.
What I saw today, good versus evil.
And this is just what I hate. I mean, this is how they've recreated and made everything ass backwards in this world. Good versus evil. You want to know who the most evil people are in the world? The Zionist Jews, who everyone's taught to have sympathy for and feel bad for and think they can get away with murder for. Just like the kind of excuses we make for Israel, a terrorist nation. A nation with more, wrongdoing than any other nation in the history of the world, even though they've only been there for such a short period of time. Israel's a barbaric nation, and we give them millions of dollars every single day. It's sick. This nation, everyone's supporting evil for the most part and hating on the good. And this is why, because we're constantly programmed to think backwards. Look at all the people that are so scared of Islam. Islam is the most peaceful religion in the world. Documented. There's no homeless people in any Muslim nations because Muslim people take care of all people. You don't need to be Muslim for them to take care of you. They'll take care of you if you're Christian, Jewish, whatever. This gang, teaching that Islam is evil, teaching you that Jewish people are to be sympathized for. Not at all.
Love versus hate.
Love versus hate. The Zionist Jews, they teach everyone to hate everyone. Except for them. You can't say anything bad about them.
There's only one weapon you have to fight back with. It's love. We wrap our arms around each other. I don't think there's any way that they can ever win.
I don't think there's any way they could ever win. Well, unfortunately, Truth Seeker, evil is winning. The Zionist Jews, they need to be removed from government, from banking, from media, from Hollywood. They just need to be removed from everywhere. And the day that happens, evil will be defeated. Mark Wahlberg, Zionist Jew scumbag. So now let's get to the point of how they created the fake terror hoax in Boston. If you saw the events of that day, what happened? Gray poofs of smoke went up in the air. Just gray poofs of smoke. Right next to where the bombs exploded, there were tables with glasses on them, silverware. There were even balloons right next, tied. I think it was all set up on purpose just to mock us. Balloons tied right where these bombs went off. The balloons aren't popped. Nothing's moved on the table. The silverware, the glasses, they're all still there. Go look at the scene where the bombs went off. No damage to anything around them, just gray poofs of smoke like they use in the movies. And then they had crisis actors laying around with fake blood, pretending like they got their legs blown off. And here's exactly how they did it. They hired crisis actors who are already missing their limbs. The military, which is always active in putting on these false flag psyops, the military hires people who've lost their legs and limbs to make scenes look more realistic. Check this out. This is exactly what was done at the Boston Marathon. We're going to watch this, all 4 minutes of it.
Well, this next story is very powerful, but I've got to warn you, the image are also very graphic. You're about to meet some incredibly brave people. They're amputees doing work only they can do, training men and women in uniform. Here's our Poppy Harlow.
Do you see this explosion right here? This explosion is exactly what was used at the Boston Marathon bombing. Little poof of smoke that goes straight up. And I mean, that's what else is so comical. The explosion show and goes straight up. And they're trying to tell you that the only people hurt lost their legs. How does that make any sense? How is an upward explosion only going to take off people's legs? These stories aren't supposed to make sense. They are all part of programming. The Zionist Jews who run the media, they think that people who aren't Jewish are lessers. There's a word for that called goy. A goy's a lesser. And it's okay to lie to goy. Goy are dumb. The purpose of the goy is to work as a slave race so that Jewish people don't have to work. And that's exactly what it says in the Talmud. And that's exactly why this world is set up the way it is. With a rich investor Jewish class that doesn't work. They just live off all the labor of the masses. And then they control over them with fear and propaganda and telling them what to think and believe and who to be scared of.
In this simulated battlefield, it's hard to determine what's real and what's not.
We call it hyper-realistic.
Kit Lavelle served in Vietnam and now runs Strategic Operations, a movie set turned training ground, preparing thousands of U.S. servicemen and women for combat.
Individuals who are going through the training here are not expecting to see an amputee. So the shock effect of seeing that happen is priceless.
The action is fake, but the amputees are real. They're actors with a unique perspective.
Did you hear it? The action is fake. The amputees are real. They're actors.
On what others would consider a disability.
It's more of a gift, and I need to share it with people. You think this is a gift? It is a gift.
Heather Morales lost her right leg to cancer when she was just 8.
Yeah, just, you can come up. I just wanted to
Ted and June DiStefano both lost their left leg in a tragic accident.
A car came around the corner too fast and hit us. It's a trauma that's been changed, that can change other people's lives as well as my own. It's become an asset.
I went through similar training here recently, and it's as real as it gets. It's preparation that we do as journalists before we go into a hostile environment. And when I was working myself on these amputee actors, it's what made me really want to tell their story.
Yeah, well, I've met people that have already gone through the training and have gone overseas and come back and say that the training helped me.
Really?
Yeah, those are the best. When they come back and say you made a difference, those are amazing.
Having amputee actors, what does that add to this? What does that mean?
Complete realism, because it actually is more realistic, and it gives them that firsthand knowledge of what to do in case of a casualty.
Most importantly, it takes away the shock.
Personally, haven't been there. It means so much big difference to actually working with these people to actually simulate with real-life combat.
Personally, I would say thank you, because they're putting out for the military personnel new experience that we need to save lives.
You can see it.
And I just want to remind everyone, if you join the U.S. military, you are joining the New World Order mercenaries. The U.S. military is only used by the Jewish banker tyrants for wrongdoing. So if you fight in the U.S. military, you fight on the side of evil. If you're in the U.S. military and watching this, if you're not a coward, you should resign today. Only cowards serve in the U.S. military. That's it. No one else. Cowards and fools.
It in their eyes that it's really affecting them.
Do they cry?
Oh, yeah.
You've had servicemen and women in training cry seeing you.
Yes, I have.
Do you cry?
Absolutely.
For the amputees, what could be traumatic is far from it.
What is it for you? It's healing.
And it's personal. Ted served in the Navy for 21 years.
I look at the men and women, and some of them are sons and daughters and fathers and mothers.
That's someone's child that's out there.
Heather's husband also served, and she'll never forget the day a 3-star general approached her.
So he came up to me and thank you. Me? Was that the moment when you realized the purpose of what you were doing?
Yeah. That's when I realized that this isn't just, a regular job. My goal is to make it so that someone comes home at night to their families. That's my ultimate goal.
When you go home at night and lay your head on the pillow and know that you have the ability to change someone's life, it's priceless.
A dose of perspective for all of us. Poppy Harlow, CNN, San Diego.
Evening Express.
So there it is, Truth Seeker, the amputee actors, same people that were used at the Boston Marathon bombing, you know? Almost all the people who sell us out in this society come from the military. Because that's what the military does. It brainwashes people, it turns them against humanity, makes them order followers. Next thing you know, what are they doing? They're hoaxing their fellow man for a few dollars, pretending like they got their legs blown off at a marathon. Do not support this movie. You know, don't support any movie. Though all of Hollywood's run by the same gang, you know. I woke up to all of this right after 9/11. I just saw what the whole game was. You know, people running your news, running your sports leagues, running your movies, everywhere you turned, giving you this propaganda about Islamic boogeyman. It's all such an organized agenda. It's not hard to see where it comes from either. It's sick. You know, how much is Mark Wahlberg getting paid to, you know, sell this lie further? The powers that be, they've done so much that's wrong to us. The only reason any of this is even able to pass is because of what's been done to us as a population. They've dumbed us down with chemicals in the food. They've taught us to fear and obey authority. They've taught us to not even think. They've taught us to just follow and believe. There's almost no critical thinking in our society. I mean, how do you watch news footage of gray poofs of smoke going up in the air and then think people's legs got blown off? How does that make any sense? People's heads should have got blown off. The explosions were upwards. But then again, the balloons didn't even pop right next to the bomb. Nothing wrong with the table. You could sit down there and eat a meal right after. What kind of bomb doesn't blow up the table right next to it? I mean, there's just so many things, you guys. I've done a ton of videos on the Boston Marathon bombing. It's been captured, the footage of that guy in the cowboy hat who got to pretend like he was a hero. He was knocking down the wall and making it look like things were destroyed. It's just, the Boston Marathon bombing is such a joke. And the only reason people don't know about it is because they've never taken the time. Because they're gullible believers. Because they don't want to see truth. They want to be slaves. You know, they want to go out and grind and pay all their money to this government that just abuses them. They don't realize the Jewish people, their philosophy about how goys are lesser and their purpose of them is to work and create wealth so that the Jewish people don't have to work. That's what this whole system is. This whole system. You know, part of the reason everybody is so okay with being overtaxed is because they think it all goes to their safety and well-being. That's not it. It just goes to their continual torment. All the dollars raised for this movie will be used towards the next false flag to continue the agenda. Until next time, Truth Seeker.